Well, continuing in my theme of God billionaires, why are you so dumb? The Virgin Hyperloop just completed its first test with actual passengers.
Woo!
And they
It's
went
two
600 miles
passengers,
an hour.
Yeah, they went
600
really
miles per
far,
hour,
really fast.
and it's a maglev, advanced high-speed rail. It only reached 100 miles per hour on the track rather than the 600 mph that was promised. And Virgin's like, but it's only 500 meters long. How many millions did you guys spend to go 100 miles per hour and only 500 meters long? Oh, $500 million. So it was only $1 million per meter.
So if it could have done the full speed, would the humans have been able to survive?
Yeah.
The start and the stop.
Maybe the acceleration, but not the deceleration at the end. I think that would have been rather sudden.
That would have been hard.
Splash.
That's a splash. But now I'm going to say that as everybody is looking at all this kudos, and I know that Tesla, well, the Boring Company, Elon's other thing, has his Hyperloop project. I'm going to point out one very simple thing. Shinkansen, the Japanese bullet train, has been around for 50 years. So before we all high five on that very expensive test run of the Hyperloop that didn't go as fast as was promised anyway, why are we this far behind? We are 50 years behind Japan. We've never put any effort into high-speed rail. And every time we try to update our rail systems and go with new technology, it's always turned down as being too expensive. And then the next time it comes up that our rail systems are falling apart and they're not as fast as other countries, and it's limiting the ways people can travel to work and also sustainability efforts to keep cars off the road, we see the price tag. It's even more than the last time we turned it down. You know what, geniuses? Before we do any more of these genital measuring contest projects for billionaires, maybe we can put that money into an actual public rail system and upgrade those. And for once, when we look at the price tag, go, yep, that's what it's going to cost now because we wasted so much time. This is stupid. And yet, somehow I predict we're going to see more stupid as we move further along in this decade, because it's not that the years become stupid, it's just that we never get any smarter. So good going, you guys. Congratulations on 100 miles per hour, 500 meters.
And the Virgin Loop is like in the middle of the desert. It doesn't
middle of nowhere, it goes nowhere.
It
carries
from
people.
like Times Square to Wall Street, but it goes like nowhere.
Guys, I do have to point out that this is a test. You know, they built a half kilometer track in the desert where land was cheap, and they were able to perform the test. This is not the end goal here, to transport two people 100 miles an hour for 500 meters. That's not the end goal. This is just the test, and this allows them to move forward. Like everything else, that's a new technology.
In the middle of the desert, what's it going to cost at a real place?
But again, once you get the tests down pat and you start to move the thing forward, things get better. You can't just jump from 0 to 600 miles an hour with the new technology. You have to take the steps to gradually bring it into place. This is what they've invested in. This is what they believe is the future. And of course, I applaud them for trying. I applaud everyone for trying something new, because if we stayed with the old stuff, we'd be still living in caves.
Now, okay, Mark, I'm with you there. Right? That was the first thing I thought. The first thing I thought was they only reached 100 miles an hour and they only did half a kilometer because this was their Kitty Hawk, right? You know, the Wright brothers flew for all of like 17 seconds, and that was earth-shattering. But now imagine the Wright brothers, South Carolina, jumping up and down because they flew for 17 seconds, and then they look up and there's a Japanese airliner with a contrail flying overhead. That's exactly what's happening here.
Yeah,
There
but
are
Tony,
countries
Tony,
with high-speed rail right now.
there can be leaps forward if you take on new technology. Maybe this is not it. Maybe it's wrong. But I applaud them for trying to jump over what is currently available. They believe they have something to this. Obviously, they've sunk a ton of money into it themselves. They believe that there is something to this. Let them try.
And I think the debut this week of the Vegas tunnel has sort of splashed a little cold, wet reality on that whole concept, that we're going to have cars driving through there at like 35 miles an hour with about 20% of
again, walk before you run.
But okay, let me tell you.
Stop.
Let me tell you the one thing.
Wait. I want to walk before you run is fine as a research project. And I get that we've given all these billionaires all of our fucking money so that they can go to space and they can invent the Hyperloop and they can do all this. But in the meantime, all of that money that they're blowing on their ego bloated projects could have been spent on high-speed rail that's affordable and doable and that could be helping millions of people right now. Could have been spent on a fucking subway that was invented 250 years ago that is affordable, doable, and could be done already.
Actually, it can't. It's not affordable because they bidded on it in Las Vegas and they said, no, it's too expensive. Can't do it.
We pay truckers, a decent sum of money to put a lot of pollution across the United States to follow the interstates from coast to coast. Wouldn't it be freaking awesome if we had hyperloops, and they didn't even need to be hyperloops. Let's just say rails that moved the shipping containers and just autonomously move them across rails, and then they just diverted.
We could invent this thing called a railroad.
Intermodal railroad.
See? Exactly.
So why is everybody moving away from freight rail? Is what happened in the last couple of years that made it so unappealing? Is it time plans?
The last 25 miles of delivery takes forever. That's the problem with rail.
But isn't that what the containers are for? Take it off the train, put it on the truck?
They have to be put on a train, amalgamated into a train that's going west or east. Then they come to another spot where they're unloaded, put it onto a different train to head north or south. And then they get to a place where they're unloaded and put on trucks. All those stops add time to the delivery of the packages.
Can we take the oil pipelines and shove intermodal containers through those and then still have that last 25-mile issue?
No.
You're
not going to be able to put it in an oil pipeline. That's not going to work.
Not the 8-inch one, the big massive one that leaks everywhere.
How big it is.
That was a James Bond movie. That's not the way we're going to get.
But they're already lubed on the inside. Is that where we're going with this? They're already greased.
Well, I respect Mark's point. I agree that, we do need to take these steps. My issue is that these are not steps onto new ground. And that's where my mocking comes from, because it would be one thing if we were talking a real groundbreaking step. And it's not that I don't respect the technology and the integration of varying types, because this is actually a very interesting Hyperloop project by itself. It's just that for the cost and the time and the way how we treat our infrastructure, it just looks incredibly foolish on top of, not necessarily accomplishing where we want to go. But I agree. And frankly, yes, if it's just their money and no municipality had to put money into it because that's out of taxpayers' pockets, then I'm all for it. Go fritter it away, do whatever the hell it is you want. But as far as it, for me, to be considered groundbreaking, this is, it is groundbreaking in the sense that we have the basic beginnings of something. And that's where I'm going to leave it.